Hello and welcome back to the Weird and Proud Podcast. It's Sam and
I almost sang during that part.
I know. No, it's okay, James. Like, do what you feel.
It's Sam.
And James. Little role reversal there.
That wasn't bad.
That was bad. We need to work on harmonies next.
What the
That'll
hell's what's a harmony?
James, don't even go there with me today. By the way, hello everyone. Hope you're having a great week. We only have 2 more Sundays until spooky season officially. Well, I mean, Halloween. Halloween is here. So I hope you're enjoying the little spooky sessions we have going on this month and a little bit of last month. And I hope you're enjoying a gorgeous vagina fall. Do you know what that word is? Have you ever heard the word vagina? Do you know that?
I'm so perplexed as to what, confused as to what's going on
It's
right now.
gorgeous, but it's like more fun. Vagina.
It's like vagina and gorgeous.
Yeah, that's why I love it. Whenever, by the way, I can't remember if I've told you this, but like when I like didn't want to say like vagina as a kid, I'd say my china.
This makes sense.
To say me china. But yeah, it's vagina. It's another way of saying gorgeous. Just so you know, that's some Sam vocabulary for you. But it's just been gorgina over here in Connecticut. Other than the fact that I have been sick the last 4 or 5 days.
I'm impressed that you're pushing through on this.
I'm pushing through. I'm on drugs. I'll do it, of course, like I'm going to do it for the weirdlings. It might be extra weird. Like my brain, I feel like is not fully functioning. I'm still like my Whoop, my little bracelet thingy, my Fitbit, basically my expensive Fitbit tells me that I'm still like, I woke up this morning like 34%. So it's not good. I mean, obviously the goal is to be 100%. And I haven't been over 40% in like 2 weeks.
I know you've been through it. You've been doing great though.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, which is funny because of course, if you listen to last week's episode, we talked about obviously going to Arkansas and how I was not feeling that great. And I was feeling a little bit better once I finally was able to sleep a little bit. But then this week, I just was like hit with a brick wall right up against it. And I literally have been sleeping like 10 to 12 hours every night. I've just been sleeping a ton. We've been watching a ton of good movies. I thought we could maybe shout out a couple good ones that we've watched.
Movies, but
a lot of content.
Your state of health has not been gorgina.
It has not been a vagina week for my health.
Did I use that the right way?
Vagina.
Just checking. You
can kind of like use it how you want. Like if you want to be like gorgina, emphasis on the gorgina. You can say vagina. Wherever you want to put the emphasis.
Can I put the emphasis on not using it?
No, James, shut up. Shut up. And my lore was shut up. Now that I can say it and I'm not going to get penalized as an adult, I love to say it as much as I can. But anyways, other than that, I'm finally feeling better today and things are looking up. Couple weeks to Halloween. Wait till you see our Halloween costume. I would love to see if anyone can guess who it is, what it is. We're going to do another like kind of infamous couple in
They're practically royalty.
They're practically royalty. And I was trying to think of like a hint I could give that wouldn't give it away too much. But how about this? The animals are involved and one of the animals is going to be a donkey. And that's all I'll say. Is that a lot?
You just totally gave it away.
No, I didn't.
I would guess that in a heartbeat.
No.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
Okay, but you don't know, like, even if you guessed, if you think you know what it is,
it's not. You just totally gave it away.
No, I didn't. I did not. There's so many donkey things. James, no one's going to know. And if they do, if you can remember it, like, you're not ready. Like, you're not ready. But exciting things. We're going to win every costume contest. Like, things are getting real. And we have a great episode for you. Should probably get into that at some point. We have an amazing episode. And we thought we'd base this episode off of kind of what we were talking a little bit last week about urban legends that ended up coming true. So we're going to talk scary movies, or some of the most like classic scary movies that you may not have known was also based on a true story.
I can't wait to see what you dug up on this one.
Yeah, there's some ones that I had no idea. There's some ones that are obvious that I'm just like not going to go over. Like what?
Did you use the one I sent you?
What?
This Stephen King. I didn't want to say it.
I don't know if which one? Maybe I didn't. What was it?
We'll find out.
Okay,
I
we'll
will
find out
find
when we
it
go.
and read it.
Yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah,
'cause
yeah,
I
yeah.
think people need to know about that one.
Oh, okay. I didn't see if I saw that one. But anyway, so we're gonna go over some movies that you might not have known are based on true stories. And James, of course, has a good Gina science corner.
It's deep this week. It's
Well,
hard. I'm gonna have to translate.
okay, good to know.
It's a good one.
I kind of let him have free range. He had something he was really excited to talk about, one of his favorite topics that he loves to talk about.
I've held it off. We've held off for a while to get the spooky stuff in. I'm going to tie it into spooky. Like, I'm not going off spooky track.
Yeah, no. It's still spooky, but it's not like as on the nose as the last ones have been. But if you guys have any other, like, we've kind of like touched upon all like the ghost
it's really
hunting tools.
Just too easy to debunk those, so I'm going to go the opposite direction.
Fun ruiner over here. He, we just like couldn't find. I mean, like, there really again wasn't anything for you to really go in depth on, unless you guys have any other ideas. If there's anything else with like a week left that we'll have that's like spooky, you want James to debunk, that's not too obvious. Like, some people are like, the Loch Ness monster. I think we've even talked about the Loch Ness monster before. But if there's anything else like ghost hunting related, anything that you're like, what is that? You need more explanation.
The theory on the Loch Ness monster is it's probably a I almost said Icelandic, but it's probably a North Atlantic ancient shark that, because of the cold temperatures and their slow metabolism, they can live to be like 600 years old.
Whoa.
So there's a chance that could be, if we're going to go back to the Loch Ness thing.
Yeah. But I think we had talked about, I think we did an episode, I'm pretty sure, which this is episode 90, by the way. I just have to say, 90 episodes. Thank you to everyone who has been with us on this journey. We fine-tuned things. We've,
when we hit 100, we're giving away a prize. I'm going to come up with something.
When we reach 100,
we're giving away a prize.
James is going to show you his nipples.
I mean, I do that now. Not that scared.
You're sick. And okay, well, here's the other thing too. I did, of course, which, excuse me if I do have to take seconds to clear my throat. But we did have to reschedule the shows the last week in Philly and Long Island. So those are being rescheduled. I actually do think I have new dates now, but
we're so sorry.
Yeah.
Anyone that was going.
Hopefully we gave enough advance, but I know it's a pain in the ass, but obviously, and if you can't go at the end of the day, obviously they'll refund you, but I will have new dates for that, and I will announce that once I officially have them. So those should be soon. But anyways, let's jump into it. Let's talk about some spooky movies that you might not have even known was based on a true story. And again, some of these will be kind of obvious, especially if you're a spooky movie connoisseur. Like, would you say you're a spooky movie connoisseur? You like horror movies?
I like them. I don't know if I know all the background of all of them.
Yeah.
What's your definition?
Maybe I'm not a connoisseur, but like, I just like
definition of connoisseur.
Just like respect? More, you're just like, you love to consume it.
True.
Okay, so let's get into it. So I found these off a list that were the top 25 scariest movies based on true stories. Some of these I didn't even know. I'm not even like going to go over too much. Have you heard of Fire in the Sky?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
We're going to talk about that. Have you heard of Fire in the Sky?
Alien abduction.
It is an alien abduction.
Yeah,
that was
from the
based
80s, right?
Off a true. Yeah. It was in the 80s, but movies came out in 1993.
90s. Terrifying.
Really?
The scene. I know exactly what movie you're talking about. If you want to see the most disturbing alien abduction scene you've ever seen,
shut up.
You watch Fire
Should we
in the
watch
Sky.
this?
It's and you know me, I don't say it often. It's grotesque. Like, it's really well done, and it will scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, because it was based on a true story of a man who went missing for 5 days, and said he was abducted by aliens.
I have seen that movie. I know that one.
And they, yeah, that's
If
how
you
have
like
you not even heard of that movie?
if you like, because I'm old, if you like a disturbing, in a good way, like I would put that scene in the realm of seeing the movie Saw for the first time.
Shut
Not the
up.
later Saw movies, not where they go total gore,
Yeah.
but definitely, and part of it was my age, probably how young I was. The scene in that movie that really does spook you and helps you get emotionally involved, because then you have a little empathy for what someone might have went through, right?
Yeah.
That scene is absolutely terrifying.
Really?
Yeah,
Even in the
Fire in the
90s.
Sky. Worth watching it.
We might have to watch that. Yeah. James and I were just talking about this too. How, like, there's so many movies. I used to be obsessed with all the Saw movies, not to go on a total rampage. A rampage, a rant, not a rampage, maybe a rampage. How, like, I just don't like to watch the super, like, it doesn't scare me. It's just disgusting.
The first Saw movie, gosh, now saying all this, maybe I am a connoisseur. The first Saw movie is not just a horror movie, it's a great movie.
Yeah, and it has a great plot and a great story.
Movie. Do you want to
Good
know
twist.
how it was shot?
And
they did not have a big budget, and they were challenged. They challenged themselves to shoot a movie in one room.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's one of those great stories about how a movie that ended up being incredibly iconic came together without anything.
Now not to go off on another side tangent, but same thing with Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I remember Blair. Yeah.
That was another thing, but it was so low budget. I was just watching a video on this where the actors like really thought that they were in a documentary, and the filmmakers and producers didn't tell them that they were going to fuck with them.
Love it.
So like it was so cheaply made, and they basically had these actors again that they were like, we're doing this documentary, like kind of just follow it how you naturally would. We're looking for this abandoned building. And they hired all these other actors just to fuck with them and scare them and set up all this stuff in the woods and scare them at night in their tents, and didn't tell them that was what was going on.
I question that. Here's only why. Yeah. When I remember when it came out, I remember that a bunch of people went to go see it in the theater the first weekend.
Yep.
There was no internet back then. I was still living in Cumberland.
Yep.
We had one theater that only had the capability of showing like 2 movies, one in the day, one in the night. It was $3 to get in. Not kidding. Not making things up. And maybe it was only like $1 for kids at the time. By the time the second one come out, it did get leaked that it was not as realistic as everybody thought it was, because it was supposed to be, at the time, it was
true story.
It was put out as this actually happened to these people.
Right.
Yeah. And then it came out as, this didn't really happen this way.
Well, it did, because the actors all set it up, and they all like made up this story to fuck with these actors.
Now, part of that I believe, but I don't know. I guess from when it originally kind of changed how the movie was viewed back then.
Yeah.
Just
I remember when it first came out, we had thought, like, I remember being told when we saw it that it was like literally just people going out with cameras, and this was their footage. And that was it. These weren't actors. They weren't, nothing was set up. It was the same thing too with, it's the paranormal activity. Oh my God. That was another one.
You always talk about that.
Holy shit. All of these are coming back to me. These aren't on the list. These are just me going on a rant really quick. But the paranormal, a rampage. I'm going on a rampage. But the paranormal activity, I remember seeing it in the movie theater, and everyone was like, no, this is literally just someone who just took footage in their house. And then of course it comes out,
I must have known about those movies never.
Yeah. Well, nowadays we don't trust anything. It's like maybe in the 90s and the early 2000s you could have tricked us, but not anymore.
Really the internet.
Anyways, back to the list, because those could have been like fake things that we thought were true. It could have been like another episode. Anyways,
damn it.
Like stories, ghost stories or scary movies that said they were true that weren't, but that's not fun. Okay, so another movie, classic movie that is based off a true story, Amityville Horror. Which, I mean, when this first came out too, this was one of like the scariest horror, like ghost related movie, paranormal movie. They came out in 79.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this movie has been remade.
And now it's been
45 years.
And another movie on this list is The Conjuring, which is also based off of Amityville Horror, based off the same story of the Lutz family, which I don't know how much you guys have known about that or if you've ever researched, but it was a true story where this family moved into this house in Amityville, New York, which actually isn't too far from us. Maybe we should go down there, check it out. But the family lived there for 28 days, and the son basically went, he also did have some mental health issues. There apparently was some stuff going on with the family. But he murdered his entire family, and apparently the Warrens went and said that it was demonic. This was like when the Warrens were at their highest. But this was, this is kind of like a classic. When I think of like movies that were based off a true story, some of the most classic.
Love any of the Warren.
I love all of it. Well, it's just very ghosty, very paranormal, which that's the stuff that scares me. That's the stuff that I like to watch again, versus like, everyone's been talking about, not to go back on my rampage, but the Terrifier movies that just came out. We were just talking about this. Like, they're just it's like, how can we torture someone? It's like, I don't want to watch human torture. Like, that's not scary to me. Like, I like the ghosts and, a good jump scare. That's kind of what I'm more into. I don't know. After like some of the Saw movies, I was like, I can't watch these graphic movies anymore. This is one that I did not know that I think you might be surprised to know is based off a true story, is Nightmare on Elm Street. Did you know that?
Tell that. I've heard this. I don't know the details, but I have heard this.
So if you haven't seen the movie, again, I'm kind of guessing that a lot of you guys have seen these or at least know what they're about. But it was this killer who, stalks their prey in their sleep, murders them in their sleep. And it was obviously exaggerated, which some of these are, but it was based off the Wes Craven had seen these newspaper articles in the New York Times about these men. It was Southeast Asia. There was some sort of medical condition where they would die in their sleep. And they then they would have nightmares. This area had nightmares about these men wanting to go to bed. They never wanted to go to bed because they were scared that if they were to fall asleep, they would die. And this happened in 1981. And there were 26 men that, I don't know what it ended up. I needed to look more into, actually, if I see the LA Times, the CDC. So it was immigrants from Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, but it affected 104 men. And it was some sort of like weird, like they had epidemiologists looking into it. But there were like refugees, they had come to America and they had some sort of like this sudden death in their sleep condition. Doesn't even say what it ended up being. It was like a rare affliction. They still don't know.
I was just going to say, it probably didn't say it because they don't know.
Yeah, they literally, when it says they still don't know what it was. How weird. And that movie does, like, that kind of stuff also scares the shit out of me, because anything to do with sleeping also scares me, because that's also like, I've always had issues sleeping. So whenever it's like, something that happens at night, or like, like that whole, and I was telling you the story about the urban legend of the guy who stands over your bed at night, anything that happens when you're sleeping does like freak me out.
It's a very vulnerable time.
Totally. This one, again, another kind of obviouser one if you know about this whole realm, but Annabelle was also based off a true story. Again, very much exaggerated, but it was a true story that happened in, did it say what year it happened in? I think it was in the 80s at some time, but there was a doll that was given to this nurse as a gift, and a bunch of traumatic things were happening to this nurse ever since she had the doll. And they believed, of course, the Warrens stepped in. They believed that the doll was cursed by a demonic spirit, and it was causing all of these violent attacks, was causing her to be sick, her boyfriend to be sick, the nurse's boyfriend to be sick. And now it's even in the Occult Museum, which I think I've told you guys we've been invited to go visit if we ever got the cahoots, balls.
Oh, yes, you can use any of them. Cajones?
Cajones, that's what I meant. Cahudas. My God. Am I okay? They have the doll there at the Occult Museum, and we could go visit it one day, but I don't know if we will. The next one, so they have The Conjuring, of course, which is again based off the Amityville Horror. The Haunting in Connecticut, another Warren film, or another Warren influenced
investigation.
Yeah. Investigation turned movie. This is another one that's like 45 minutes from us in Connecticut. And did you ever watch this with me, The Haunting in Connecticut? Did we ever watch that movie together? I've seen it, but
I don't know.
That could be another one to add to our list. This was in 1986. This was again a true story of this family, the Snedeker family. They actually technically were renting a home in Connecticut, in I think it's near Shelton, like near Bridgeport area. That ended up being a former mortuary, and of course the Warrens come. They say it's haunted. It's run by demons. And if you've seen the movie, you see what happens. Basically, just your normal spooky stuff. But it was a pretty good movie. That would be a good one to rewatch. Did you ever see the movie Stuck in 2007?
No.
Okay, apparently this was also a true story. I never seen that one, so I'm not even gonna get into it because I was like, I don't even know if I've ever even seen this movie.
Well, you've got the story. What's it about?
Well, okay, well, just so you know, if you ever do want to know about this movie Stuck in 2007, it was a woman who, after she committed a hit and run, a victim was lodged in her windshield, and a young nursing assistant named Brandy, who and tries to figure out her next she was the woman who was driving the car, tries to figure out her next course of action. And it was based on a Texas woman who hit this man, a homeless man, and left him embedded in her windshield until he died. My God. Was convicted and sentenced for 50 years for her crime. So, not to give away the ending, but she hit someone and he stays lodged in her windshield. Jesus. Holy, we should add this to our list.
Yeah, sounds
Stuck.
exciting.
I've never even heard of that movie. I was wondering if you maybe had.
Nope.
Oh. Well, this is kind of spooky. I'll give it to him. Open Water. Do you ever see this movie in 2003?
This is the one on the scuba divers that got left behind.
Yep.
It's horrible.
Oh my God. By the way, kill me.
Yeah,
literally.
This is your
another
worst
like
nightmare.
Worst case. By the way, another quick rampage. Pause. Did you hear about this? They're in, I think it's in Colorado. There's like a mine where they literally, it was an old coal mine that you drop 500 feet, and it's an old coal mine that now they've turned into a tourist attraction. And over the weekend, 20 people got stuck
trapped
at the bottom of the coal mine. James, first of all, I would actually never, but if that happened to me, like, they were trying to like calm the people down. Like they said the biggest thing was just trying to calm these people down because they were so nervous they were going to have heart attacks because like they were freaking out.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. And like that, like they're not even saying the details, but apparently like the conductor and the guy that worked there passed away. And somehow the elevator that they basically used fell. And they won't say what happened, but like,
did they get him out?
No, they don't know. They haven't like released any details. They got the people out, but like no one's talking. Like they're all like super traumatized.
Actually happened.
Yeah, like I don't know if he like got stuck in it, and they like watched him like talk about Saw type stuff. But anyways, another rampage that I just had to go on. But Open Water, again, this is like
just a reminder to everyone: we don't discuss these beforehand, obviously.
Well, no,
which makes it a little more fun.
Of course, no. Why would we? But if you guys again don't know about the whole Open Water, it happened in 1998. The movie came out in 2003. But still, it was still so scary. Again, about these poor people who were left in the middle of the open ocean by the Australia's Great Barrier Reef, and experts, they say the couple was never found.
No.
Oh, I thought they were eventually found.
I don't believe so.
Oh my God. Can you even imagine? I thought from the true story that they survived.
They were on like a scuba excursion and they got left there. And my understanding was they never got found. Now, if you found something that is actual fact, I've never really looked it up.
No, I just saw, for some reason, I thought.
And me being an avid snorkeler when we go, that's terrifying to me.
Yeah, and especially you go off on your own all the time.
Yeah, I go by myself all the time. At least I know where I'm going.
Right. Yeah, that's true. You're not in the middle of the ocean, but
I'm not like dropped off in the middle of nowhere and I don't know where it is. I have like markers and track myself a little bit. I know my territory.
Sure. The next one, I had no idea that this was based off a true story. I guess like more about like, again, kind of like an article that inspired the creation of this movie, but Birds was based off
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah. Did you know this? He said there was a short story that was the inspiration for it. And the story was also based off real life events where a California coastal town was terrorized by a flock of birds. It was 1961. And there were birds in the Monterey Bay area that were acting disoriented, were ramming into people's houses, were attacking people, and they had no idea why. But finally in 2011, the researchers think that they found a toxin-making algae that the birds had digested somehow that would cause like amnesia, disorientation, some seizures. But that was also based on a true story.
I love hearing how these guys.
Well, it's interesting, like how they find inspiration,
and then they're like, "Here we go."
Yeah, because there are some times when you're like, "How do these people like think of these insane?"
Just always paying attention. It's like how do you get great content?
I know.
You just think about it all day. Yeah,
think about it and worry about it and think about it and worry about it every second for the rest of your life. No, but it's fun. But it is like sometimes your brain just is. That's what makes you like a good creative person, is being able to like observe things and be like, oh, that would make a great X, Y, and Z. Also, did you know Scream was technically based off a true story?
I tried watching it. I didn't watch much of it. There was there still is. There's a documentary on Amazon, I believe, about it. About the original Scream or something like that.
Yeah,
I think it was more that somebody was just phone calling and scaring people.
It was more phone calling. Yeah. It was based off this, what they called the Gainesville murders in Gainesville, Florida, where this guy who, was, calling people, prank phone calling people, scaring people, wearing a mask, going around and scaring. But I don't think he ever, he obviously, if it's a murder, but like, it's not like, like the murder was anything. It was more of like him like making these freaky calls.
I never got far enough to know whether somebody actually.
It's basically him just like making these freaky calls to people.
But it was more freaky calls.
Yeah. Also another classic.
Well, speaking of that, we already talked about Wes Craven, who made Scream. Same thing. He did Hills Have Eyes because of the same thing.
We talked about that.
Yeah, and that was Wes Craven.
If you missed, a couple of weeks ago, we did an episode on haunted caves, and there, I think it was Scotland, there were these caves. It was kind of like this legend about this family that ate people and lived in these caves. Yeah, totally.
It was Wes Craven again.
Fascinating. Again, another classic, Poltergeist, which was based off the Herman family.
No, that's an actual terrifying movie.
Well, I was gonna say, talk about another classic horror movie.
Was
Poltergeist.
That from the late 80s?
Or 82.
It was early 80s. I was okay.
Yeah.
I was like, that might have been even before that.
Yeah, and this was based on the story of the Herman family. Again, another Long Island. Something's going on in Long Island. They believe their home was being built next to a Native American burial site. Yeah. And there was a lot of demonic activity going on. The Warrens were around. I'm surprised the Warrens weren't over there. That's like a Warren thing. The Warrens, it doesn't say anything about the Warrens being involved, but I feel like that's their type of thing. It's in their neighborhood. And then here, you just brought up this one, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I did not know was based off a true story. And I forgot that there also was original. There's ones that came out in the 70s.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I only know about the ones that came out, what was it, like
Leatherface.
The 2000s were the most recent ones came out?
Those were like third remakes. They were made again in probably the
really?
90s. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. 90s. All great. Like those, like those were like good horror movies that had some graphicness, but it wasn't too over the top.
Chase scenes.
A lot of chase scenes, the Scream Queens, a lot of
the classic slasher movies.
Yeah.
You got your Friday the 13th.
Yeah, the slasher I'm fine with.
It's got Halloween.
It's like the torturing part. It's just.
You want to hear another
what?
Halloween fact?
Yes.
It's probably on the socials and other people have probably seen this, but do you know that the iconic mask for Jason was based on a super famous actor?
Who?
From the Halloween movies, the white mask.
Oh, yeah?
That he wears.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you know who it's based on? William Shatner.
Really?
Yeah.
That's random.
I know. But if you look at the mask, you'll never unsee it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why William Shatner?
Because they wanted like kind of an everyday. No, it was William Shatner. He was from all kinds of stuff and then got really famous for Star Trek. And then it's just William Shatner.
Huh. That's random. Yeah. That is a random fact. But anyways, if you have heard about, if you've watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, yeah, the Leatherface James was just talking about, but there was a killer, Ed Gein, the butcher of Plainfield. This took place in obviously in Texas. This took place in Mississippi. No, and it was true that he would like exhume corpses from graveyards, and he would like make keepsakes of his murders
with skin.
Yeah, by keeping their skin and their bones. So creepy. And it was funny, someone had sent me when we went to Texas recently, like there's like a whole like Texas Chainsaw Massacre like tour you can take, and there's like a ton of, you can like go to the gas station where it happened and all this kind of stuff. So we got to do that next time we're there. Another movie that scared the shit out of me.
You could just make this your movie list and just watch a version of all
No,
of
literally.
these.
I know. Yeah. I feel like this has actually become the best list ever.
Have you ever seen The Birds? The original?
Oh, of course.
The Alfred Hitchcock one?
Yeah, of course.
Good for you.
I also saw the bees. Killer Bees. Did you ever see that one?
I don't know if I saw that.
Oh my God. I will never forget. Like some of those scenes are like embedded into my brain.
They just get swarmed by bees.
They get swarmed by bees. And they like, I will never forget. There's a scene where like the only thing she can think of is going into like filling up the tub and going underwater and then trying to breathe through a straw.
And the bees are trying to get in the straw.
They're
smart.
Like I saw that movie when I was like 10, like at a really young age.
At that age.
And then now like it's literally like I think about that. I'm like, if we ever get attacked by, bees, we're fucked. And that's why bees like kind of scare me. I'm sure that's also based off a true story.
I love bees.
Yeah, you do love bees. Bees are nice, but it's the bees that are friendly. It's the hornets that are the
hornets
meanies.
And wasps are just a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
And if you're near their
bees
nest,
are fine.
But that's your own fault.
Right. Bug off.
You wouldn't like it if people were jumping in your home.
Totally. Okay, this movie scared the shit out of me. One of my top favorite scary movies of all time, The Strangers.
Oh, you do love that one.
And this is my idea. Good jump scares. Good, good slashers, some good, you get some murder in there. But it's more about, like, oh my God, like what is going to happen? What is going on? Also, of course, the fact that it was based off a true story. If you haven't seen this movie, it's so good. Came out in 2008. It was inspired by real life violent crimes that happened. Actually, technically, it was based off the Mason family and the 1981 murders.
Manson?
Where, what did I say? Manson. My God, that's what I meant. And it was in California where this happened. Like these 4 people were out in a cabin in the middle of the woods, and these people come and just basically totally fuck with them and watch the movie for the ending. But it is spooky as shit, great jump scares. And yeah, based off a true story. Gotta love it. Who made that movie? Who was that? Brian Berntina. Another one, classic, Zodiac, the Zodiac Killer. Of course, kind of an obvious one.
Based on it, yeah.
Kind of an obvious one. Another classic movie, a 1973 movie. What do you think it is, James? Can you guess? What movie? Absolutely classic. 1973. Who, if I could give you another, it was obviously based off a true story.
Give me just a second.
No, totally. Linda Blair, wasn't it? Nice use. Linda Blair.
I was trying to hit the other one. It would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. Linda Blair. Any come to mind? When you think of this movie?
Wait.
Jason Miller.
Black Dahlia?
No. The Exorcist.
Oh, dang it. Oh, 73.
Yeah, 73.
Should have got that. One of the original best scare
James,
horror movies.
I was just going to say, one of the best. This was another like revolutionary movie of its time. Obviously, one of the first like Exorcist style movies that came out. It was based off this true story about this 14-year-old boy named Roland Doe. And it was, of course, he was taken over by a demon. And this was, these are also like some of those scenes. Like, this is another movie that like some of the scenes stick out to my head, like in my head, that I will never forget.
And it was made in 73. That's the cool part about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was literally just like so ahead of its time. And even, of course, there are a lot of other Exorcist movies out today that are based on true stories, but this was another, like one of the first movies I watched when I was younger that I probably shouldn't have watched. That scared the shit out of me. And if you haven't seen it, you absolutely must. It's a classic movie. Oh, and that's it. That's all of my list. I was just gonna say, I'm like, wait, I must be getting close to the end. That's all of them, and that's a good one to end on. So those are some good scary movies. Another good scary movie that's not based on a true story, but we watched it last night, Shutter Island. And you fell asleep half the way through.
I kind of had it figured out.
Did you? You did think you had it figured out?
I mean, I even told you partway through.
I know, but you didn't know to what an extent.
I said, he's obviously a patient.
Yeah.
But it's been, and the thing is, there's been other movies kind of like that.
I know. Like, but also that was a movie when it first came out, like, too, that like blew everyone's mind. Like,
I believe that. If I would have watched it, I'm sure.
Like at the time, and you really had no idea, because now it's like known as like one of the best twists ever in a movie. But I feel like if you'd watched it originally, I remember seeing it in the theaters. It was so scary. And yeah, it was just like, it was based off a book. So like some people did know, of course, like if you read the book. But wow, what a great movie. We also watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That is based off of an old, I know that's not based off anything true.
Scary?
I believe it's based off an old book.
Scary
Stories?
Oh my God, I cannot speak.
Wait, this was going to be the
Scary. Oh, classic. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
A better one. Where's the crickets?
Oh, I don't know. We'll figure it out later.
We'll figure it out.
It was on Netflix, and it was just like, it has kids in it. So it's like kind of like a
but still was
PG
good.
down movie, but it was still spooky.
Worth watching.
Yeah. It was a really good, worthwhile movie. Was there any others that we've watched under my sick? I'm trying to think if there's anything else that
we've told them about the grotesquerie or whatever that we love.
We've been obsessed with grotesquerie. Travis Kelce is a horrible actor, but we'll let it slide. That's been a really good show. It's on FX/Hulu. Also what's the guy's name? Ryan Murphy. Now, James, do you want to get into Science Corner? Do you want to tell us what spooky things are going on in the skies?
No,
and
let's
the
talk
stars?
about the Menendez thing.
No.
Yeah, kidding. Of course we can get into the Science Corner.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's time for James. James, all I know is that there's something going on at CERN.
Well,
is that the same thing you're telling me?
Well, yeah, but in this kind of world, it's not like it's completely new. It happened a little while ago.
Okay.
But they are starting to come up with more ideas of what this is. So let's start by reading what I want to talk about, and then I'm going to try and translate it down.
Okay.
And we're going to try to tie it into something spooky-ish.
Okay. James Science Corner.
Still need to write a song for this thing.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
Right?
Kind of had like a 90s.
Right.
Folk.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah. I liked it.
Okay.
All right.
What? I'm scared.
I should read it better, but physicists have proved that a subatomic particle can switch into its own alter ego and back again.
What?
In a new discovery revealed, a precise measurement made by Oxford researchers at the Large Hadron Collider experiment at CERN. We've talked about CERN before. It's below Switzerland, and it's this just gigantic thing where they're searching for the God
particle.
the
top scientists in the world.
Yeah, pretty much smartest
time
people
travel
from Oxford University. So we ain't dealing with people,
from the
reporting on the
Mail.
Mendez trial or whatever. We're dealing with actual facts here. Has provided the first evidence that a charm meson can change into its antiparticle and back again. I'm going to define that. Right. So when you're looking at what this is, we all know, we've learned what protons and neutrons and electrons are, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are made up of quarks and antiquarks. Quarks and antiquarks. These are actually the idea, or what science has discovered, actually make up the protons and electrons.
Okay.
So they're like subatomic particles.
Okay.
The protons, electrons, and neutrons make up an atom. These are the subatomic particles. And remember, when you're thinking about all of these things together, we might picture something from a science book in high school where they're all connected.
Yeah.
That is not true. There is more space between these particles than there is actual particle, or what we might call matter.
Okay.
But what they've also found is that these, I'm going to read it the right way. Oh, I lost it. Charm mesons can actually move back and forth between two states. Now, what we'll talk about is matter, which is the stuff we see and the stuff we know, right? Like stars are made of matter. But then there's a thing in the universe that they've discovered that's called antimatter.
Okay.
And it's kind of the opposite of matter, but it helps to balance the universe based on electronic charges. Again, a proton is a positive, an electron is a negative. Now, why that's important is they've found this thing that can go between both states.
Okay.
What are things that we talk about during spooky season that supposedly can go across and go between both states of matter, or seeing, or in two different worlds?
I don't know.
Ghosts, anything that we talk about. Spirits, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm making a huge leap. There's no proof or science to this, nor should I even be talking about it, but I'm still going to do it. What if this were something that science started to talk about now, and 50 years, 100 years down the road, it shows that there is another realm that these particles can go back and forth between.
It's like a parallel universe.
Yeah. In a long-winded, no way of proving science. I don't even like talking about it because there's no proof behind it. But since we're in spooky season, we have to look at something cool that science is doing.
So this is like maybe...
This is science trying to understand how the universe works a little better.
Okay.
And things can always be wrong, but at least the current interpretation of how it works is they have discovered a particle that can bounce back and forth between basically matter and antimatter.
Okay.
Right? So it can exist in two different states at the same time.
So what does that mean? That there could be parallel universes?
Sure. Let's do that. No, I'm okay with saying sure. I'm actually, normally I say that sarcastically, but this thing, this charmed meson has led...
What's a charm meson mean?
I just defined it.
Oh.
In probably a really bad way. But what it is it's the something that from smashing these atomic particles together, subatomic particles, right? At really high speeds, they have found these other things that normally.
Is that like a French term? Is like what I meant is like "champ missile."
Kind of, yeah.
Oh,
I
like
found when I was looking up the translation of it, the French language was something that came up, which in
French,
Switzerland they speak pretty much
shit.
all of it. I think they speak mostly German there, but then
in
also
Switzerland?
French. So
they don't speak
the
Swiss.
idea of these, and this is why I love talking about it, because I love this part of the science corner, is these subatomic particles can contain quark and anti-quarks and can travel as a mixture of their particle through different states. It's called particle mixing. Wow, they make it really simple.
Particle mixing.
But when they can go between two states at the same time, who's to say that there aren't other things, particles in our universe that can't go to another area? Let's use a completely made up, in my mind, example. What if there's a particle that can exist in two states between outside of a black hole and within a black hole?
Oh, black holes.
Coming up with something completely different. Exactly. A black hole could be there. A black hole is so strong. The reason it's black is because light can't escape it. Right? Light is well known to exist in that same particle realm that we're talking about. It's both a wave and a particle at the same time. We talked about radio waves before, right? And that's kind of what this thing is doing. Is it's another form of matter that now can also act almost like a form of light. And so who says that these subatomic parts can't move back and forth between two dimensions, worlds, however you want to define it? So let's say that a black hole is a way to either travel through time or find another dimension. What if these particles could move from one side of the black hole to the other without being damaged? If a human were to go through a black hole, we would be crushed by the gravitational force.
Okay.
Right? It'd be like
the submarine. I hate to say it.
You see, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And that level of gravitational force versus a black hole is kind of like comparing a grain of sand to the sun. Like,
interesting.
Not even close to the amount of force it would be. But if there were a particle that could skip the force, that's what these ideas of charmed mesons could be. In my own very loose interpretation, if there are actual physicists listening, they probably have a better definition than I do.
Wow.
But that's the reason I wanted to talk about this during spooky season, because this is a kind of a groundbreaking thing.
In the science world. It's like paranormal in the science world.
Yes.
It's kind of like seeing a ghost in the science world.
It's seeing something that can exist in two states. So if a ghost could exist in two states, yes.
Which it can, James. Wow, that's good, Gina. Thank you so much for that good Gina science.
I wish I had the crickets one, but I can't find it.
No, that was so lovely, James.
We just needed to talk about it.
You just need to talk about it. Sometimes you just need to get it off his chest. I feel like if you don't talk about CERN at least once a month, like you're gonna combust.
It's pretty cool what they're doing down there.
One day we're gonna take you to CERN. Can you like go visit CERN as a public person?
I've never even thought to look it up, but I'm guessing they have some kind of tour.
Oh my God.
It's in Switzerland. It's not that far from
Spain. Well, I know.
We
go to Italy.
If we're in Lake Como. We're not far from it.
Right. Maybe we just hop over and go to CERN. Take a tour. Would you lose your shit?
I already am. Just thinking about it.
He's got a boner just thinking about it.
Just thinking about going to see. Can we go meet just talk to one of those science nerds for a while?
Just talk to him? Sure, James. We'll see if we can set that up. If anyone has any connections at CERN, let us know. We'd love to just meet one scientist. Just go check it out. I don't even know if you can go see it because it's underground.
I would fanboy out so hard.
Yeah, I know. That would be that between going to Lambeau Field and meeting the Packers or going to CERN.
Yeah, see, I've already done that though. Going to CERN would be
You've done
bigger.
Yeah. Right. Well, that was gorgeous. Thank you so much, James, for that spooky science. Didn't understand half of it, blacked out a couple times, but it was gorgeous, and I'm glad we know a little bit more. At least we've like ended somewhat of this podcast.
If somebody is I just with like anything,
I feel like people do like your nerd outs every once in a while.
Well, all I hope from it is look up two things: look up a charms maison and just understand what it is, And if you aren't, and if you're just hearing about CERN and you want to know more about it, just look it up. It's kind of cool stuff that's actually going on in the world.
Totally. It's just.
I think CERN just appointed a new president too,
James,
which I should know more about, but I didn't.
You should look him up. Hit him up on LinkedIn. See if he wants to chit chat.
Oh, it's a great idea.
You should DM him. Slide in his DMs. Why we keep saying a he? It could be a her. It's very sexist.
No, because it is a he.
Oh, you know?
Yeah.
You met him?
Look him up. But I'm pretty sure that it was a guy they mentioned.
Got it. Okay.
I don't care if it's like, it doesn't matter to me, but
right.
Just stating a fact. I'm pretty sure it's a guy.
Right. Well, you guys, it's that time for secret. Yeah, that's right. It's time for secrets. We've got some spooky ones. We've got some silly ones. Most of them, of course, are around spooky. We've gotten a lot of good, creepy, spooky stories. So I'm trying to focus, as much as we can on those, just because we've got an abundance of them. But if you want to call in, leave us a weird secret, tell us something weird, you can call in too.
SpeakPipe!
That's speakpipe.com/weirdandproudpod. Again, speakpipe.com/weirdandproudpod. You can leave up to 1:30 seconds, always anonymous. I'll put the link in the description of the podcast. It's also in the bio of our Instagram. So click on it, check it out, send it in. James, are you ready for the first? This is actually kind of a silly, funny one.
Prepared.
When we were talking about pranks gone wrong, this is kind of a good, silly, spooky prank star gone wrong. Here we go.
Hi, Sam and James, calling with a trick-or-treat prank story on behalf of my husband because he's too chicken shit to call in. I still love him. This happened about 20 years ago. He's about 15 years old. Him and his friends had nothing better to do, so they decided to break into the old abandoned Heinz ketchup factory. There was this huge wall they couldn't get past, but it was made out of sheetrock, so my husband decided to just kick a hole through the wall so they could get to the other side. On the other side, they found the quarter-mile-long stretch of warehouse that was full to the brim with pallets stacked 20 to 30 high, full of Heinz products. They ended up leaving that night, but returned the next day without my husband and decided to play in ketchup. There was ketchup spewed everywhere. They were bowling with it, God knows what else. They wrote his name and his phone number in ketchup on the floor and possibly his address. They ended up leaving that night. Shortly after, the cops came to my husband's door the next day because they found his name and address written in ketchup. He was investigated. They took prints of all of his shoes that he had, and turns out the one unique shoe that he decided to wear that night was a match to the hole that he decided to kick through the wall. So he was charged with trespassing, and at 15 years old had to get a job to pay off a $1,500 fine and community service. So there's that for you. Anyways, love the pod. Love you guys. Thanks.
That's crazy.
That's a phenomenal prank. And obviously that's a Pittsburgh story.
Yes, Pittsburgh.
Which we've been to and we loved Pittsburgh.
I was like, didn't we go there? Or like, now that, it's a Pittsburgh. That makes sense. I remember seeing.
I should have asked the question, made you answer that. I was wondering if you remembered.
No, I don't know if I would have. I remember, isn't it Domino Sugar is out of there too? Or where's Domino Sugar?
I think that was
Pittsburgh?
Also.
Yeah, I was like trying to get him.
Yeah, now that one you might have me on, but I'm pretty sure it was Domino.
I can't remember.
Or wait, was that Austin, Texas? No, Pittsburgh.
Oh, I don't know.
Heinz is for sure, but
but also like I can't believe his friends like kind of like why would they put his phone number?
What horrible! Now that's horrible.
Yeah, that's shitty.
And then what terrible investigating that he gets in trouble for doing it from the night before,
right?
When they are the ones that caused
I'm hoping that they
of
got in trouble too.
Yeah.
Just because for fairness sake. But I mean, if you did go in and
guess
destroy
what?
property.
Kudos to you. What a great prank. And when you're 15, that's the age to do that at.
Yeah, break into a
If
Heinz.
you do that when you're 30, you're going to get in way worse trouble.
Yeah.
But when you're 14,
course.
you're just a little rapscallion.
Just a little scallion?
Rapscallion. I think that's a word.
What's a rapscallion?
Somebody who causes problems.
Rapscallion.
Rapscallion, I think it is.
Rapscallion?
You can look it up. Try looking it up.
I believe you. I trust you. I trust you, James. A rapscallion. Yeah, that's just classic teenage boy things, but it's just funny that it's a Heinz ketchup. I don't know why I was like, that's the fact that there's a Heinz ketchup factory that was, I can't remember if she said it was closed already. No, it must have been open if there's products there.
No, definitely not closed. You can still buy Heinz ketchup, which you do
and
often.
It's still like operating in Pittsburgh.
Where do you think you get your Heinz ketchup?
I don't know, like New York City, like a big, I don't know. China?
You're so cute.
China. All right. That was gorgeous. We love the prank stories.
Where does lobster come from?
Shut up. Lake Minnesota. Wisconsin. Lake Wisconsin.
Could you point at it on a map?
Could you point at it on a map? Shut up. James, honestly, if anyone wants to kill James, you can go for it. Just know that I'm supportive.
Does Heinz ketchup still make things?
I don't know, James. I don't know if Amazon took it over, all the corporate takeovers. Like, I don't know if like Kraft Singles is in there, like crafting shit up, selling it to the Patriots. I don't know. I don't know if Big Heinz, Big Ketchup bought it over, put the microplastics in it, and is selling it out of China. Okay? Times are changed. Okay?
I have so much hope for this country.
Well, you should.
I do.
Literally, you guys, someone hold me back. Hold me back. Hold me back. Okay. Here we have the next secret. Are you ready? This one's spooky-licious. Here we go.
Hi, Sam and James. I'm recording this message from Ontario, Canada, to bring to you one of my spooky stories. I have two boys who are 16 and 14 currently, but when my oldest was about 4 or 5 years old, he started talking to something or someone at night. We would put him to bed, and then through his video camera, the camera that we had set up in his room, we would hear him speaking to somebody and telling them all about his day, that he went up the slide, down the slide, what he did at school, and so on. Now, my husband thought I was crazy and said he's fine, he's just doing kid things. I spoke to my doctor about it because there were names that he spoke about. So we did a bit of research and we noticed some things about these people, like we found it up in the internet and noticed some things about one of the names that he had told us that had a big mouth and lots of teeth. So that brings us to one night when my husband was away, of course, and I'm sitting downstairs. My little guy's gone to bed, but I hear him speaking. I hear him talking about his day, so I just figured that's normal. Then all of a sudden he says to one of the people, he says the name and says, "Hey, are you here?" He pauses. Then he says, "What big teeth you have." I nearly lost it. Ran up the stairs, pulled him out of there, pulled out the camera, and oh my God.
This is why kids scare me. Like, you
did it just cut off? Why did she end with, "Oh my God"? What's the rest of the story?
Well, just that she heard her kid talk. I think it was kind of like where it ends. She found her kid talking to this, and she got him out of there. I had at one point like had people send in to me on Instagram, like on Instagram stories, people like their experiences with kids telling them creepy stuff, because it happens all the time. I know we've had some other people call in about, you know, like their kid talking to someone or like saying something that you're like, how would you know that? You know, or like just something, you know, just like weird things from history or from the past that you're like, wait, I don't know, how would you have known something like that? So it's just weird. Like, just that would creep me out, especially even when my mom told me when I would do that to her and talk to things. The man in the checkered pants. Yeah, in the checkered pants.
Checkered pants. I always say flannel.
And she would always be like, "What the fuck?" But that's so scary. Did you have invisible friends or talk to anybody as a kid, James?
Probably.
Nothing you remember off the top of your head, though.
Quite
your mom
common
talking
for
about
kids to have imaginary friends.
Yeah, but like that's just the thing, you know, that I was discussing. I can't remember if it was on here when we were discussing it, but about like having an imaginary friend, being like, "This is my friend Billy," he, versus like actually like having an in-depth conversation with someone you think is real.
I don't. I might have.
You know,
but I'm not aware of it.
I don't know. It's just I don't know if I can handle that. You know, having the kid talking with someone. I don't know. But then again, you know, kids they always say they're more open to the spirit than supernatural world. And they're just so pure, you know? that maybe, I don't know, maybe they do know more than they're telling us. Who knows? But that's creepy. If you have any other kids telling you creepy things, or like kids telling you like a story about like, you know, from their previous life, like you always have like hear these stories about kids being like, oh yeah, when I was in the coal mines, you know, back in the day, and you're like, wait, what? You know, like they act like they've literally like lived multiple lives. That also freaks me out. We've heard a couple of those. All right, James, are you ready?
Prepared.
We have this one's good, and we also are going to definitely need to call back on this, but here we go.
Hey, Sam and James. So I'm just listening to your kind of reflections on staying at the creepy hotel. And I must say, I'm very much on James's slightly more skeptical but open-minded side. But when you were talking about feeling really poorly, Sam, it reminded me of this cracking story, I must say, one that I will not fit into 90 seconds, about when my husband and I were semi-recruited into a cult here in the UK. And we didn't really know what we were getting in for. We thought we were just off to visit a new friend that we had made up in Scotland. And if you've ever been to Scotland, like it's really remote and we're in the middle of nowhere. And suddenly found ourselves in this house, and there were pictures everywhere of this guy that they worshipped with candles and things. And he was always in like a dhoti, like a little kind of sheet. And yeah, he was everywhere, but there were also loads of other religious deities. And as soon as we got there, I got so poorly. It's like my body just needed to expel me out of that place. And as soon as we left, and we actually ended up leaving early, the cold suddenly disappeared. So yeah, it's a really long story, but yeah, that was when we were almost recruited into a cult, and actually my body was telling me not to stay there. So listen.
This is when I was like, okay, we're gonna need a lot more details about what cult were you almost about to join?
What's the address in Scotland so we can go visit?
Yeah, we want to come. I also love your accent and like little like, you know, they're like slang.
You do love those accents.
You know, you're like, oh, you're feeling, what'd you say, spooky? You're feeling ill. You're feeling poorly. Feeling poorly. And then we were telling the story, you're like, I've got a cracking of a story. I love it. But yeah, sometimes like your body just knows, and it's funny. Like
that was, you know,
some
of
course
your best
now
accent work.
You think
it was pretty good? Yeah,
crack. It was. I had some good inspiration.
Yeah,
you know,
but that's all right.
But that's, you know, again, I was kind of just saying that it's funny that, you know, now I did end up getting sick, but I still feel like I was, specifically when we were in Arkansas at that hotel, I was felt like I was more sick when we were in our hotel room.
Oh, you absolutely
versus when
did.
we were outside. And how your body just knows, and like that always, you know, it's one of those, you know, pieces of quote unquote evidence that ghost hunters use, and it's like there's no way to really prove it or, you know, show receipts of it, but it's just like a feeling that you get. And it's funny how your body, your gut always knows if you feel like off about any sort of thing, whether it's a spooky situation, whether it's, no matter, you know, a group situation, whatever, the body always knows. The body keeps the score. Did you read that book?
No.
Do you know that book?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, you should read it. It's a good book about trauma. You should actually maybe look into it. But that was a great little story, and we have one. I'm gonna do, I mean, I guess like a little bit of a trigger warning. It's about finding someone dead. Okay, here we go. One more for the road.
Hey, Sam and James, I wanted to call in and tell you guys a pretty creepy story. So my friend is a nurse, and one day she went to work at the hospital. She noticed that there was a pickup truck, and there was somebody that looked like they were sleeping in it. The front seat was totally reclined back, and her feet were sticking out of the front window. So she went inside, did her shift. When she came back out at the end of her shift, she noticed that the truck was still there. So she went and got a closer look, and lo and behold, the person was not sleeping. They were dead. They were completely blue in the face, and the truck was just littered with a bunch of alcohol bottles. So my friend freaked out and called the cops, and then the cops said that they'll take care of it, and she just went home, and she never really found out what happened to the lady, what her name was and what happened to her that day. But we have a theory that she went out partying the night before and unfortunately overdosed, and whoever she was with had driven her to the hospital, left her in the parking lot, and just from the way her body was positioned, it looked like she was dragged from the back seat to the front seat. And I guess that they did this so that, somebody would see her better if she was in the front seat. So, yeah, that's it. It's pretty sad, pretty dark story, but I thought you guys might want to hear it. Thanks, guys. Keep doing what you're doing. And come back to Fort Lauderdale.
Such a spooky... there's nothing... Like, I'll... Like, seeing a dead body, especially when you're not ready for it. Like, if you're not prepared. Like, if you're going to a funeral, you're going to something where it's like, you're going to see a dead body. But, like, I feel like just to see one when you're not prepared... I can't even, like, go to a funeral and, like, see a dead body. I don't even know how I would handle seeing one in real life. Especially just, like, coming across it randomly. Like, going to your job and then you, like, see someone in a car, like, in the parking lot. That would, like... Seriously, that's like an image that would end up being like seared into your brain forever.
And to see that going into work and then back out.
I know.
I don't mean to be crass about it, but the fact that she's a nurse, hopefully she handles that better than the average person.
Totally. Yeah. Like if you're probably used to it.
If you're a banker and you see that, or if you do pretty much anything else but work at a hospital.
Yeah.
And or funeral home, you're probably not. You're less prepared for it.
Right.
And again, not all nurses are around dead bodies, right? That's not like, I'm not saying all nurses are, but hopefully she had a little better.
A little bit more.
Still difficult. Not saying it's easy, but.
Yeah, that's so sad. And that is probably like your thesis, like that probably makes sense. It's like, why would someone do that, like purposely do that in a parking lot of a hospital? Unless like it was someone dropping them off and was like... someone take care of them. But like, why wouldn't you just like bring them in? Like if you're already there, like just at least bring them into the lobby and be like, hey, or let someone know.
Or drive up and who knows?
Yeah. But anyway, so sad, but a crazy story. And I mean, glad
you're okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And hopefully that's something
incredibly dark. We hope that, I mean,
what
all
do
the
you
normal
hope,
things.
James? Tell her.
All the things that everybody should be thinking. Like the person who passed away, I hope that they found out why. I hope that
everyone got answers.
Everyone got the answers they needed.
Yeah, but it's just sad story. If anyone else, if you ever found a dead body, let us know. What's another weird way you found a dead body? Wasn't at a funeral. Have you ever seen a dead body outside a funeral? Like, that's human, obviously, not like an animal. Obviously. Don't even tell me.
of.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? So sad and scary.
Yeah. It was. I was young.
Family member?
No. Dad was we were at a basketball game.
Dad was a doctor.
Yep. We were at a basketball game. And I remember we were at our first house that we lived at. So I was less than 11 years old. I was probably little league age, like 7, 8 years old. And we were at a high school basketball game. And my dad was kind of one of the doctors for, it was a small town. It was less than 2,000 people. And there were only 4 doctors in the town. So when you went to a sporting event, you were kind of the on-field doctor for everything.
Right.
Older man collapsed at a basketball game, and I was right down from where my dad was, and I'm, of course, just watching my dad the whole time perform CPR on him, and the guy passed away.
Oh, that's so sad.
I'll never forget that. It's just a
I know, like I feel like once you if you see something like that, like that does not leave your mind.
Burned in my brain memory. Oh yeah,
for sure.
I remember Dad coming home that night and me kind of going, what, like asking what happened. My brother was 3, so would have been able to figure it out. But I remember kind of old enough to press him, and we had bunk beds. I remember being in the top bunk because Dad was tall, so I could talk to him. And I remember asking multiple questions until he told me, like, well, actually, if you need to know, the guy did end up dying. It's part of what I do. But I remember kind of that explanation. But to answer your question.
Wow, spooky, scary stuff. I don't think I ever have, honestly, and I hope I never do. Cause that shit stays with you. But on that note, spooky stuff this week.
Does it count if I dissected a cadaver in college?
No.
Didn't think so.
No. Spooky things. A couple other spooky weeks ahead before the official spookiest day of the year. Make sure you're calling us and let us know what other spooky things you've seen, heard, or anything just weird secrets, weird things you've done or heard or seen. Call us in at
SpeakPipe.
That's speakpipe.com/weird-and-proud-pod. Again, speakpipe.com/weird-and-proud-pod. Send it in. Just send it in. We love you guys so much. We love all your weird shit, all your weird spooky stories. And we love you. Make sure you're following us too, by the way. Another quick little rampage, if I will. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Weird and Proud Pod. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Same thing with Spotify or wherever you're listening to this podcast. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you could, give us a 5-star review or, whatever you feel. But a 5-star or anything over 4 would be highly appreciated. We love you guys so much. Anything else, James, you want to say to the people?
No, just love you, weirdlings.
Just love you, weirdlings. Happy
Couldn't do it without
October. You. We truly could not. And send us in some weird stuff and or if there's any other spooky, weird science corner things you think James should debunk, let us know. But other than that, we'll see you next week. Love you, weird.